Call me an old man, but naps are the best thing in the world. Ever. I've been really tired all day, haven't done anything. And then I thought, I know, I'll have a nap for half an hour. And here I am, alive! The first time in a couple of days, actually. I ache all over. I do jiu-jitsu at university twice a week, and it hurts. I haven't done it, because of the Christmas holidays, I haven't done it for about a month, and I think I shook the rust off a bit too vigorously than my body accepts. First thing you'll probably notice is my beard is gone! It's all gone! I'm fed up with it. The reason it even existed was because I had deadlines coming up towards the end of last semester, and in the mad panic I didn't shave for 2 weeks. I just didn't think I had the time. But I thought rather than waste it, I would test drive the Tony Stark / Darren Brown approach to facial hair. It may show up again. It was all right for a bit. Last week, I picked up the new graphic novel adaptation of At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. It's been brought to life by Ian Coulbard. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I thought that was probably a good thing because it means once I do, I can review it. I'm actually doing Lovecraft for my dissertation at university, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. But this is kind of a segue into a bit of news that I found out today, which is they're actually making a movie adaptation of it, based on this graphic novel, and Guillermo del Toro has been cast as you don't get cast as a director. He's the director for Pan's Labyrinth and the Hellboy films and a load of other really well directed films. And if you haven't watched them or heard of him, shame on you, and you should fix that right now. In fact, close this YouTube window, go to the movie rental store or a DVD place and just pick up either Pan's Labyrinth or the Hellboy films, even if you're not a fan of Hellboy. And I knew nothing before I watched the films, but I think they're fantastic. Niles Crane is the voice of Abraham, which is hilarious. So yes, definitely do it. Anyway, yes, I said I was going to do a reading today, and I still am. Yeah, I was going to have it so like the text kind of scrolled up the thing like that, but I don't know. It seemed a bit less personal and boring. I haven't actually read anything out loud in a long time, but I can't not put accents on and stuff like that. So you have that to look forward to. I hope you enjoy it. It's a bit ostentatious for my tastes, but it's a good laugh. There are still some kinks in it that I could do with working out, but it's just one of those things that I've left on the back burner for now. Like I said in the last video, I did it for the National Novel Writing Month last year, and I spent about 2 weeks straight writing it, and then I had to stop at about 19,000 words because I realised that I had an essay due that day, and I hadn't even started, and the deadline was half an hour from when I realised that it was due that day. That wasn't fun. That day was not a fun day, but that's when I realised this is cutting too much into my studies, so I need to give it a rest. If I do decide to revisit it, I'll just rewrite the whole thing in a bit more my style. I mean, fantasy isn't really my thing. I'm more of a magic realism / postmodern / metafiction / weird stuff kind of guy, and it was my first attempt at really creating a world, and I don't think it worked too well, but we'll see. Like I say, I'll go back to it at some point eventually, and I don't know, maybe I'll be able to make it work. I'll give you the opening scene, and you can tell me what you think. I love you, Windows Movie Maker. The forest night was a dirge to the day. The cold wind cried even colder music through the trees, and down the single path that led the way through the thick undergrowth. The bracing elegy was cut short by a drunken, disorderly troop of bandits. Cavorting on their stolen carriage, complete with stolen horses, they trundled down the trail. The rogues stopped abruptly when they saw a pair of things poking out of the firmed road. They were a pair of ebony, pointy things that captured the excitement of one exceptionally intoxicated outlaw. He boomed into the back of the coach from his position, manning the beasts. "Hey, Gov! It looks like we got us a little demon baby!" His snigger ended with a snort, and he rumbled on. "We'll get paid a rich man's nicker if we cut his horns and sell them down in Warehouse." The man superior moved his scarred face out of the window and glanced down the path to see for himself. He shook his head which caused his gilded necklace, engraved with the name Euston, to let out a chime that was almost as subtle as his voice. Dig it up. We will get far more if we sell the old thing. To a family who another demon ruined before it, perhaps. Or we could even rent it to several families. The brute gave a look of slight distress, but Euston added to his comments before he could open his big mouth again. Horn told a high price, but vengeance is priceless. The dishonest eyes slimmed, and he moved back into the carriage, and a group of 3 men, each uglier in body and soul than the last, clambered out with makeshift shovels to carry the task, muttering to each other as they scraped at the rocky membrane. I don't get it. How does he expect to sell it if it's priceless? Priceless isn't the same as worthless, Lucian. Just dig, you idiot. I want to get home before the wife thinks I've gone and died on her and the kids. The night shadows buckled as they worked. Euston's pawns dug deeper and deeper, and what they confirmed to be the child's horns showed no signs of attaching themselves to her head. They took a moment to muse upon this particular demon's potential, as it was common knowledge that the size and number of a demon's horns directly correlated to their power. They grew scared, yet laboured on. A child's cruelty was no match for Euston's, demon or not. After about an hour of unbroken digging, the crook's esteemed leader hopped out of his vehicle to inspect their progress. He looked directly at the face of an infant, as they had all suspected. A young boy, with black horns the size of a stag's antlers and amethyst hair that still reached far into the ground. Euston sneered. Sebastian, Maximilian, pull it out. The grunts obliged, wrenching the frail, naked boy out of the ground before he was due. He looked no more than 6 years old, and as the air touched his entire body, his eyes opened with a scream. The noise was cut short as the back of Euston's hand smacked against the boy's pale face. The bandit leader's subtle voice grew a sinister edge. I don't care how big your horns are. From where I stand, you look like less than nothing. Before the blood could escape from the child's mouth, he was wrenched from Sebastian and Maximilian's arms as Euston's fist crashed into his chest. He whimpered, landing in a horned mess a metre away from the hole he was hauled from. No one will pay good money for you. You're pathetic. I could find any cretin like you out on the streets. Lucian chuckled and was quick to agree. Yeah, he looks just like a little kid crying for his mummy, right, Gov? Euston didn't answer, on account of the thin blade poking out of his stomach. The silhouette standing behind him spoke in a terribly dignified tone. No, we can't be having this. 4 grown men bullying a newborn. That's just despicable. He had been removed from the embrace of his mother far too early. I cannot stand for it. The blade moved to the side, and Euston, still living, slipped off and fell to the floor. The other 3 men recoiled in fright. It's a demon! A big one! Protect the Gov! Sebastian, Maximilian, and Lucian all drew their swords, and in less than a blink of an eye, they all let them go. The steel clattered on the road, followed by 3 bodies. The figure moved with the grace of a swan and the speed of a cheetah. It snatched a spaceful cloth from the inside of the carriage, and in that very moment the harsh cold on the small boy was replaced by soft fabric. The warmth caused him to stir, and he looked up at his rescuer with his large violet eyes. His fellow demon stood tall and proud, dressed in the finest noble attire. Long, sleek, white horns curled down from his temples and out from his well-kept head of genteel turquoise hair. He looked down at the boy, carefully through his ornate monocle, and tutted under his breath. How unfortunate. You are the first that I've seen in a long time to be so undeveloped. You could have done with at least another month or so down there, to mature. I suppose that's the problem with having appendages like yours growing up and out of your head. You were very lucky that I happened to be passing by. The child watched the man speak. He saw the vibrations running up his throat and how the shape of his mouth curved the sounds into words. He tried this for himself, and after a couple of failed attempts resulting in inaudible gurgles, he spoke in a sweet, yet distant voice. Who are you? Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did recording it. It was hell, but I feel good for finishing it off. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. The next video will probably be some point in the weekend. I'll do that Mountains of Madness review. But anyway, there's a little present in the corner. Yeah, thank you very much. Goodbye.